slate. And welcome to episode 4 of the show formerly known as the Untitled JR and Kevin Podcast. Unless you want to keep that name, and you guys can vote or comment on the little thing down there below. But as of right now, we've adopted the name PS Comics. I love you. I figure it's an homage to the famous phrase, the PS I love you, and of course our kind of our general state of mind here in the Coachella Valley. It's always kind of been known as the greater Palm Springs area. So, yeah, and we all have a love affair with comic books if you're watching this show. Yep. I am the voice of reason. You can follow me on social media across the board at Voice of Reason 23. I'm Kevin Pillow. The man over there, it depends on how it gets edited on Zoom. We don't know. He could be that way. Yeah. He is the Dark King. What did you think of your edit there on the last episode?
I like it, man. I like it. It was nice.
Having a little fun with the iMovie 2020 on the MacBook Pro, and
I gotta get on that myself. Dude. Try to help you out.
And we are working still on the audio form. I met with a buddy of mine that I used to do a podcast with earlier this week. He's kind of got me down the right path on getting us a platform to submit our audio to. It's just, just making sure that we're all kind of got our ducks in a row and whatnot. And so, yeah, we're working on that. We're kind of, who knows, we may just drop it on SoundCloud. That could be the easiest way.
That's fine. We'll use any and all platforms to, show our love for comics and all that. Yeah, but thank you very much again for just tuning in. Our 4th episode. And I'm really excited about the news coming in today. We're doing a lot more of a formatted version today.
Yeah, JR actually sent me some homework to work on like 3 o'clock this morning. So we're recording this on a Saturday. Which, by the way, speaking of Saturday, if you hear some buzzing going off, it's this bad boy, my Pokemon Ball Plus, going off. It is Community Day. Gotta get those. What are we catching this week? We got to catch those Weedles. Going for the shiny count. So, by the way, we will have, for those of you, Pokemon's part of our pop culture. We might sprinkle some Pokemon news in today's episode. Maybe, if not, maybe next week or the coming weeks, because there's some really cool stuff that was announced this past week in regards to their platform of video games, which segues into segment number 1. Something we wanted to talk about the last couple of weeks, because we are gamers as well, is the PlayStation 5 finally being announced. And we hinted at it last week. We're talking about the Boss Logic variants that he put out there. The dude had a field day with variants.
Oh, man, I love that guy. I love that guy so much, dude. Cannot wait till he comes out here to America to just say what's up and everything. But yeah, before I cut you off, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know it was a big reveal. It was a week ago Friday. Bunch of games were announced, some cool videos put out there. I think I shared some on Facebook. If not, I'll put them back up again, facebook.com/Voice of Reason 23. Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts were on the PS5.
Well, just for transparency's sake, man, I've been a PlayStation fan my whole life. I've owned every console. Nearly every console, right? Other than, of course, like maybe some of the Super NESs and like stuff before that. But like, PS1, 2, 3, I own a Vita. Actually, no, I own a PSP.
I never had a PSP.
I had one. I had one when I used to work at a game store way back when. But yeah, but I had an Xbox 360. I don't own an Xbox One, but yeah, I'm excited for the PS5, man. The showing was great. It was very tight knit. Like if you are in a Sony event, you always kind of knew. You kind of like the last couple of years specifically, you always kind of knew what you're getting into. Yeah. They're just gonna show game after game after game, and I love that. Like they started this trend mid, I think 2015, 2016 or something like that, where like it was just game. And some of these games you might not like. You might not what you fancy, but like, hey man, it's constant stream of like just talking about games, and maybe like 30 or 40 minutes in, you have a developer or whatever say, hey, this is what we're working on, this is that. Just let's show you what it is, right? Cool. They hit off the bat, dude. Miles Morales is Spiderman.
Oh, that game looks sick. And by the way, for those of you who do not have a PlayStation 4, the Marvel's Marvel Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 is worth the price of admission. If you do not have a PS4, if you've been on the fence about buying a PlayStation 4, probably right now is one of the better times to get a PlayStation 4. What's up?
Yeah. No, you kind of cut off. You cut in and off.
Oh, my bad.
That's all good.
One of the best times right now to get probably a next gen console is probably right now as the PS5, the possibility of the next gen Xbox being announced. Obviously, even the Nintendo Switch is looking at getting a next gen boost. But yeah, if you're thinking about it, PS4. I mean, shoot, my PS. Well, actually, that's my PS3. Actually, I still have one here in my undisclosed Shield location. Still rocking GTA 5. Still haven't beat that game. But dude, Spider-Man was worth the price of admission. It took me about a month to beat the game just because I wanted to savor it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I finally said, no, I need to knock this thing out because I want to play some freaking Red Dead Redemption. But Spider-Man Miles Morales, the graphics, just the gameplay overall looks just so much similar to the Spider-Man game, and which was awesome. I mean, there was really nothing negative I could say about that game, and I'm just hoping that Miles Morales is not going to be exclusive to the PS5. I know
it is though.
I know that the version they showed was going to be exclusive, but and also I think they finally revealed too that the kind of like what Spider-Man Miles Morales was. It kind of is not a sequel, but it's not a DLC. It's kind of in conjunction with the PS4 Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like it's a standalone game. It's like very similar to if you ever play, let's say, Infamous Second Son. Okay. There was that its own game, and then there was like they call it DLC, but it's not necessarily that. The DLC for Second Son was basically its own game. Yeah. There's another game called Infamous like First Light, and so it featured another character and did its own story. The same thing is gonna deal with let's say Uncharted.
Yeah, I heard it was kind of people were comparing it to Uncharted.
Yeah. Uncharted 4 came out, and then Uncharted, I forgot it's basically Chloe Fraser and another character that was in Uncharted 4. They had their own stint in their own little storyline, and that was cool. That was fine. And in this case, like, I'm cool with it, man. Like, hey, we get Miles Morales, bro. Like, he's off the hype of just good things that's been happening for Miles in the last like 2 years, man. You're talking about Edge of Spider-Verse. You're talking about the ever-growing love and consideration for the Spider-Man book that he has. I think he's on issue 25, 26. No, I think
it's been running. There's been a couple runs, volumes, and I think the current run's been running for a while.
Yes, it's a long. He's on a currently long run, and then just possible storyline, possible ticks. Another Edge of Spider-Verse movie coming out with Miles and everybody else too, and like just all that stuff. Like, so it's just been on a hit. Like, Sony's been on that end. It's been going really good. Also, another game that came out that's been showed that day is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Some people might not know.
I can't believe that game is still around.
Dude, like what that game specifically, if for those who don't know, is exclusive game to Sony, but that they made that game specifically to show up the PS5, because what they've said before for the architecture of PS5 is that it's stronger. Yes, it's much more, I guess, more powerful than the PS4. But the thing about it too is that the selling point is that it's much faster than PS4, because every time you load in a game, it takes a while, right?
Yeah.
Every time you load in another map, it takes a while. In the PS5 version, the PS5, right? They just want no load times at all. Like, they just want it so fast that the second you start a game, you're already in a game. The second you come back from, let's say, eating something, right, and you want to start your game back again, at that same point, there you are. And so what they showed with the Ratchet & Clank is that you go through different literal universes. Right? Oh, you're in one universe that has all this, just think of it as like, you remember when in Infinity War? Not Infinity War. In Endgame. Spoiler alert. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't watched Endgame yet,
where have you been?
Where you guys been? But like, yeah, if you remember Endgame, where at the end, that big climactic battle when like everybody comes through these portals.
Yeah, the portal scene. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, just think of that. But like, it takes you like a 3-minute load time. If it was a PS4 game, a 3-minute load time to have a portal open up, right? And this one is just instant.
Instant.
And people don't recognize that now, but like you played Red Dead Redemption, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Number 2.
Both, yeah, but Red Dead 5 or Red Dead 2 was, I got. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my microphone here. It's got a little wonky on me. No, Red Dead was, the missus asked me. She said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And for 2018, I said, "I want Red Dead Redemption, and I want the Sony PlayStation 4 Spiderman." So I was late to the game on both of them, but I eventually got them, and yeah, they're both addictive games, but.
Yeah, no, but like, my example with this, like, remember that very first town you're in, right? That very first town, right?
Yeah.
And you go there, and then let's say you want to travel to the biggest city, right?
Yeah.
How long is that travel, or like how long is that load time?
So some of the load times on Red Dead were brutal.
Insane. Yeah, dude, right? And so in PS5, you want like that. Oh, you just load up like that, instant. And so that's the biggest that's the biggest leap they want to do. And so that's cool.
And my biggest problem though with load times is that always seems to be the wish list item that happens to be the come on, we got to get the load times, got to get it going, and them switching to completely a Blu-ray format, because that was the same thing with DVDs. It's like when you had DVDs back in the day, just watching movies, it would take forever. It was not instantaneous.
Yep.
I mean, once the movie got going, it was instantaneous, obviously, but it just seems like those, like, oh, when the PlayStation 4 comes out, load times are gonna cut in half. But the problem is the quality of the games go up, so it's like
bigger. Yeah,
they got bigger, so the load times are the same. And I mean, it's getting better. I mean, I can remember PlayStation 2 games that some of the load times, like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City on PS2, were just epically long to when it comes to the load times. By the way, going back to laying claim to consoles that we have, actually just a stone's throw away from where I'm at right now, I have a original PS1. I have an original PS2, which I don't think works though, but I do have one of the PS2 Slims.
Yeah.
Do have a PS3, which is, like I said, just about 5 feet to my right here. My PS4 is downstairs, and I'm hemming and hawing about the PS5. Going by this list, I mean, some of the other games that they kind of mentioned in JR talked about, Horizon looked really, really good.
Forbidden West, yep.
Hitman's always a really strong series. Res Evil, Demon's Soul. I don't know much about that one.
Demon's Soul is Kena. Some of these, I'm telling you, dude, like some of these games, man, look really good. Like the main reason why, of course, like we've hit this word before, that it just takes so long to load in, is that we're at photorealistic levels now of graphics, photorealistic levels. And so like to have all that data be compiled into one disk and then loaded up onto your face, right, on the screen, is just takes so much time. And now I'm telling you, bro, right after this podcast, you look up Kena Ridge. So
there's a bunch of these.
Oh yeah, and as well as we call it Horizon Forbidden West, man.
I will say Cyberpunk 2077 obviously gets in a lot of press. That was launched, I believe, at E3 last year. That was the big story in summer of 2019. If I'm not mistaken, Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to have a version released on PS4 by this time, but it got pushed back.
Yeah,
and of course, that's the one that features Keanu Reeves.
Yep, Keanu Reeves is in that one. Like, they just pushed it back from October to November, or actually, let me just check real quick. They pushed it back like a little bit more than a little bit less than a month, and so I'm cool with that, because it's CD Projekt Red. They had they're the guys behind Witcher series, and they're just awesome. So I'm cool with whatever they wanted to do.
If they don't think they have it right yet, then get it right.
They're one of the very last few game companies that really care about their craft, and they really care. They don't have no publisher. They don't have no outside interference and trying to tell them like what to hit numbers and where to hit these things. So I'm happy about that, man.
I will also. I was going to say, looking at your list, just based on your list alone, it's the series that just refuses to die, when it comes to PlayStation, and that is the never aging racing series that is Gran Turismo. If you are any kind of racing fan, whether you are a sports car fan, a stock car fan, Formula One, whatever it may be, Le Mans style car racing. I mean, you look at any series that's in the world today, or just a car fan, Gran Turismo is arguably the best. And there are some people that'll sit there and say, okay, you're kissing the ass of Sony, but Gran Turismo is one of the best. I wasn't a gigantic fan of I think it was the PS2 version. It was very clunky. And I guess I couldn't quite get it because I was looking for an alternative to NASCAR Thunder because I was an Xbox fan. And when I got the PS2, well, I was a longtime Nintendo fan, and I got the PS2, got NASCAR Thunder for PS2. I apologize. And I was like, okay, I'm looking for a sporting game. And I went and got Gran Turismo for the PS2. And I was just like, it's kind of clunky. Don't like it. It's not what I was thinking. It's not the sort I'm looking for. I don't know. It just wasn't what it wasn't the simulator I wasn't looking for. And then I remember I saw the preview for the PS3. And when I got my PlayStation 3 I got it late. I got it like in 2009, 2010. And I was like, oh, okay, now they're stepping their game up. And then I got my brother got me Gran Turismo, I think for the full-fledged game for the PS3 later down the road. And that game was just phenomenal. But I have to I'd forgotten that they had announced one for the PS5. I'll have to go and take a look at it. I've seen some previews, but didn't get to see the presentation video, and I can only imagine.
I will say, just for transparency's sake, their rival game center from like the Microsoft studios, right? It's called I forgot the name of the series called, but like they've been really good. They've been really good. It's that like it's been very arcadey.
Yeah,
right? They
have
like an arcade. Yeah, they have an arcade game, and then they have really like full on simulator, then an arcade again. And like I get that, you're looking at different avenues to try to basically do that. Grand Theft Auto had they do like one game. They do hopefully one game every generation, and so just get a Grand Theft Auto at the gate. A PS5. That's cool, man. They did show some gameplay, which I do like. And so, check that out, man. Oh, and the Cyberpunk 2077 is going to come out November 19th. It's been pushed back. It's been pushed back from October to November. And so I'm like, yo, dude, take whatever time you need, man. It's CG Project Red. They're great guy, a great group of individuals, great group of people, great team there. And I just can't wait for that game, man. And granted, yes, it's going to come out on PS4 and Xbox and, all that other stuff too. But then I'm going to buy it, play it on my PS4, and then play it again on my PS5.
Some kind of closing notes on the PlayStation announcement from last week. No official date, though they're hinting at a holiday 2020.
2020, yeah.
No price point, though the rumored price point, and I take it for what it's worth, is $800.
That's the Amazon placeholder. I would say Amazon placeholder.
I have a feeling now. Of course, there's going to come in two different formats, from what I understand. A traditional physical copy edition, which is you'll put the Blu-ray disc games in, which I believe will also be able to do digital downloads, or no?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, and then there is I don't want discs. I like downloading it on straight from the store. That is going to be a digital only, no inputs allowed. So be very careful, folks. If you do end up getting a PS5, especially for our younger audience who still rely on mom and dad to get you your PlayStation 5. No, I'm just kidding. If you are, when you do request like you said, if you request a gift of a game, you get that significant other that goes, oh, you know what? He's really worked hard this week. I'm going to get him the latest game. Make sure they buy the digital code, not buy you the disc, because I will say this, out there in retail land right now with everything that's going on, and we're not quite back to normal. But
It's hard.
a lot of retail locations are being super strict on returns. Video games have always been a hot button issue when it comes to returns. So if you do end up buying the PS5, be very careful if you want to save some money, because it is rumored that the digital only version will be less expensive than the
Yeah.
physical copy version, because the physical copy version will be kind of
Yeah.
both.
I will say that that they might there will probably be one that's cheaper, but at the same time, because it's digital only,
Yeah,
that it might ship with a bigger hard drive, right? So I think
that'd be
it's
awesome.
gonna come out. Yeah, it's gonna come out flat with like I think a 800 and something gigabyte SSD.
Ooh, solid state, nice.
Solid state. So like, yeah, that's every PS5, right? And so you might have a terabyte, 2 terabyte one for your no CD drive, right? But that might be a little more. I'm more extra because I seen some of the prices, dude, on some of these SSDs, dude, crazy.
Now, for those of you who know what an SSD is, Google a little Talking Tech in here, which, by the way, another podcast that KRP Broadcasting produces. This right here is like a portable solid state hard drive is what this is. And I know it's kind of going in and out. A solid state hard drive essentially means that there is minimal to no real working parts to it, where a traditional hard drive, even in a traditional original portable hard drive, is you had a fan, you had a motor, there was and when you would plug it in, like I've got about a half a, I think it's like might be a half a terabyte hard drive. The thing's about the size of a shoebox, first off, and it's incredibly loud. It actually requires power to be plugged into it. And when you, like I said, when you turn it on, it makes this loud winding noise. That's one of the reasons why I got this. I'm going to transfer all the information off that old hard drive, probably crush it, and put it onto this solid state portable. But yeah, I noticed that going from the PS3 to the PS4 is the PS3 still used a traditional hard drive, big hard drive. Big hard drive means big power, meaning also needs big cooling fans. And it was always so loud. I still use it as a Blu-ray player. And yeah, my PS4 is so much quieter. And that was one thing. It's like I've heard about the PS5 is it is going to be almost, like a pin drop of a sound. So, and of course, like I said, it looks, the design is just.
I wish we could just show some of it. We might show some near the end of the show or something like that. We can, but like, yeah, man, some of these design things are hilarious. Like to me, it looks sleek, looks beautiful. It's gonna look really nice towards my right here, by my big old freaking monitor here, dude. But like, I'm gonna love it. But like, some of these memes, man, are
Boss Logic has been killing. A lot of these memes have been killing. Real quick side note, we won't get too much into, like I said, little Pokemon news other than it's Calm Day. They had a presentation this past Tuesday. We'll talk about it maybe more next week, because there is a second one scheduled for this coming Tuesday, where they're expected to announce more about possibly involving their Nintendo Switch line. For those of you knowing right now, with the Nintendo Switch, there are 2 Pokemon titles available. There is Sword and Shield, which is the current game, a main series game, which it includes the Gen 8 series of Pocket Monsters. And of course, they have the Pokemon Let's Go series, which started when I think it launched with the Switch back in 2018. But we'll talk more about that, because there's talk of a third title coming to the platform, main series platforms. So we'll talk maybe more about it next week. But I will say this, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, some other news that kind of broke this past week is Nintendo is pushing the release of the sequel to the hit Legend of Zelda game, with I think is the Breath of the Wild. The sequel will be pushed to, I believe, holiday 2021. Reason being, they are not competing with the PS5. I think it was funny. They knew the PS5 was coming. They knew the PS5 was coming for the holidays this year. But I think really and truly, people say they saw Miles Morales and went, ain't competing against Spiderman. We'll wait till next year.
Yeah, and that's cool, man. I'm fine with that, man. Like, I haven't got a Switch. I do want one. It's just that, like, I see the prices now for Switches, dude, because everyone's sold out. Yeah. It's insane.
We were talking about this. We were talking stocks with my dad earlier this week, and we were talking about, like, if hindsight was 2020, I would have bought stock in Charmin, Schwinn, and Nintendo 4 months ago, because who would have known that there would have been a run on toilet paper, bikes, and Nintendo Switches.
Yep.
But yeah, so Nintendo's killing it right now. Yeah, if you could find a Switch, get your hands on it. It is totally worth it. You basically have a full-fledged console video game system in your hands.
Yep.
You can watch it on your on your HD TV, and I think it's 1080p.
Yeah, it's 1080p.
It's not 4K like the PS4 and the PS5 are going to be.
That's the reason why it's so cheap.
Yep. And of course, it's portable. I mean, it's
Yep.
about the size of a PSP for those who still have a PlayStation Portable. But moving on to the comic books.
Oh, one more note.
Oh, go right ahead, Ben.
One more note. One game that's coming out this or just came out, right? I think on Thursday that I'm going to be playing, and it's gonna be brought up the next podcast, right? I'm a big fan of. I love, and you know, I try my best to stay away from all the spoilers. All of them, even though I've been spoiled already because some people are asses. The Last of Us Part 2 came out, and I've seen the reviews, right? I've seen the official reviews, and it's stellar. I've seen the user reviews, and we've all seen this happen before because of the bad press that Naughty Dog and all those people have been getting, because like they're banning people or they're shouting banning people, and so you have all these user scores just bombing this thing. But I will give my opinion and I will give my review about that game next week, because I'm gonna buy that game this week, and so by the next podcast I will give my 2 cents on it.
You'll get your 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I love the first game. The first game is still my favorite game of all time, and I've played a lot of them. And yeah, so
I've never played the first one. I just remember when what's it called? I remember when the trailer for Logan, the first trailer for Logan came out, the final Wolverine show or movie.
They referenced Last of Us a lot.
Well, it was really odd that how similar a lot of Last of Us fans said that the trailer looked a lot like Last of Us, and so I had a friend of mine who's a diehard Logan fan, loves the books, loves like I said, likes Marvel, likes the Wolverine books, but also is a huge Last of Us fan, and was so upset with the Last of It, because it was like, oh, like even the lettering looks a lot like Last of Us, and it's like, so I don't know.
I mean, I love Wolverine as well, and like I saw like Wolverine looks like The Last of Us, and The Last of Us looks like a lot of like a plethora of like genre movies, right? I think of The Road. I think of what do you call it? Like a bunch of old Western movies as well. I think of like it's a lot of movies in one game, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that, and that's cool. And I'll give my Last of Us 2 review next week, because I
don't spoil it.
I won't do.
I haven't even played the first one, so
dude, I'm telling. Buy the I don't know if you bought the first one or if you can buy the first one, but like I think the first one's cheap now. There's remastered of it, right? If you play it, don't play it with your daughter or your wife.
No, I'm usually video.
Go ahead.
I say usually video games are kind of played by myself. Usually after everyone's gone to sleep. Like with Red Dead, there were times I was like, okay, you've heard these words in Marvel movies, and then you go like, ooh, you haven't heard that word yet. No, you need to go. No. You need to go.
I'm talking about like the first 15 minutes, dog. You're gonna want to hug your kids afterwards. I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. Okay. Next on our list, bro.
Speaking of 15 minutes that might make you hug your family, is moving on to a little Walking Dead, and
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
I get into it, dude.
Okay.
Okay, spoiler alert. If you've never watched The Walking Dead, if you've never read a single issue of The Walking Dead comic book, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We are going to ruin one of the most massive storylines, moments, not just in Walking Dead history, but one of the most iconic moments in comic book and pop culture history. And that is, well, or at least it's going to come up in conversation here, is we're talking about The Walking Dead Negan Lives, a new one-shot basically coming from the man who pretty much runs Image Comics right now, Robert Kirkman, who, by the way, I've heard nothing but good things about this guy. And again, I cannot recommend it enough. Go to YouTube, find the Image. The story is done by, oh my goodness, I can't remember who it was done. Was it VH1? No, it wasn't VH1.
No, it was VH1. It was, I think it was like a nerd something. I forget what it's called. I'll try to find it right now.
Yeah, there was a 5-part documentary. It's a real easy watch. You trust me, you'll watch the first episode and you'll want to binge it. And it talks about the history of Image Comics from the get-go. And I haven't watched it in about a year. I might go back and watch it again. We watched it with some of our buddies when we were at Amazing Con Vegas last year, which, by the way, sad day. It was officially finally, I think, canceled, even though Vegas is technically back open. Also found out this past week that Comic-Con Revolution was canceled finally. They had rescheduled it for late August of this year, but given the recent information from Gavin Newsom, it's been pushed to May of 2021. They feel that will be a more appropriate time to go back to normalcy, and hopefully Revolution will be one of many Comic-Cons to kind of kick off the year. But
note on that. Thanks a lot, Orange County. Y'all couldn't wear masks?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I wore my mask today. I was like, I'm having fun with it. Like I was telling a friend of mine was just like, I'm about 2 seconds away to be rocking my Iron Man mask. I mean, technically it's a face covering.
Yeah. And also the Image Comics, right? It's a documentary is by Sci-Fi Wire.
Sci-Fi Wire, that's it.
History of Image Comics, right? It's a 5-parter. Yes. No, it's a 7-parter. 7-parter.
Oh, 7-parter. Okay, cool.
7-parter.
Great, so, great watch. It's an easy watch. If you're I tell you one thing, if you are a Marvel and DC honk and say, forget everybody else, everyone else is still an independent. I'm hardcore for the big boys. I'm telling you, watch the history of Image Comics. It's a really fun watch, and I guarantee you'll become a Robert Kirkman fan. Yeah. I got to tell this side story real quick. Comic-Con, my first ever. Never been to a Comic-Con period in my life, let alone San Diego. My first Comic-Con ever, 2015 San Diego Comic-Con. I get press passes. I'm on the floor right in front of the Image booth, and there's a dude dressed up as Negan, and he has Lucille, the bat, I think it's wrapped. No, is it wrapped in barbed wire? Or no,
it's wrapped in barbed wire.
And at the very end is a blood-soaked white baseball cap.
Of course.
And a buddy of mine, and mind you, this is before the TV show had addressed that storyline. I think the comic book had gone into like the 5th printing of it. I think it's Walking Dead number 50, or is it 100?
I think it's 100, dude.
100.
Actually, it might be. Let me double check.
50, I think, is the debut of Negan.
Yeah.
And the death of
no, that's the same. The
debut all in the same. Oh, Negan beat. Okay. I don't know what number it was, but anyways, it went into multiple printings. It's one of the top selling comic books of all time. It's one of the most controversial, most talked about, and probably one of the most poignant pop culture scenes. And what they did with the TV show, they shot it comic book style for the AMC show. And I'm not a huge TWE fan, but I give Kirkman a lot of credit. I give AMC a lot of credit for creating some amazing characters. But JR sent me this, and while he looks up that information, I'll get into the news and notes on this one. Walking Dead, Negan Lives. Robert Kirkman is doing a one-issue story that focuses on Negan. Kirkman is doing this is a surprise, spoiler alert, to help out comic book shops around the globe. And if you aren't familiar with that campaign, Jim Lee did something similar over the last about 3 or 4 months when Diamond distributors cut off everybody, and basically local comic book stores were shut down. He was selling, first off, he started selling stuff from his own personal collection, which I'm like, dude, you have the guy who runs DC Comics auctioning off his own stuff. Dude, that's badass. Then he got, of course, his buddies, Snyder and Williams, and I know Danny Miki, who is a guy that his name I was trying to figure out a couple weeks ago, who's been a longtime Jim Lee inker. All were donating stuff to the cause, and all the proceeds from these auctions were going to help out local comic book stores as they tried to reopen or even just stay open. And that's what JR points out. 100% of the sales will go to retailers. Hashtag back the comeback. And let's see. But tying it all into the TWE show on AMC, Negan himself, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, one of the best actors out there right now.
I loved him, man. He's freaking awesome, dude.
When I saw the trailer for, I think was the final episode of season 5 when he makes his debut.
No, season 7.
Season 7. I apologize. So he makes his appearance, first appearance in the show, final episode of season 7.
Or is it first episode of season 7, final episode of season 6?
Season 6. And he comes out of the Winnebago, does the monologue verbatim from the comic book. But I remember
F's. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the trailer that they showed, they're like, next time on The Walking Dead, the last frame of the trailer is him walking out of the Winnebago, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is ripped straight from the comic book. And my brother, who religiously read the books, was like, dude, did you see that? I'm like, I'm not. He knows I'm not a Walking Dead fan, but he's like, yeah, I saw the trailer. Negan looks amazing. This could be. He's like, dude, this is. If this is just the trailer of his first appearance, ooh, Glenn is not. It's not going to be pretty. And I've never seen the scene. I've just seen the comic book frame, and it's not a pretty frame.
No, dude, like they go balls out. Like, well, for spoilers again.
Yeah, spoiler alert!
Spoilers again. Out of just segue to connect two things. Out of issue 100, which is the first appearance, and
it was issue 100. Okay,
yeah, where spoiler in season 7, right? Issue episode 1. I think that's the right one. Not only does he kill Glenn, he also kills I forgot his name, but it's the other character where he's like he's big and buff and like red hair. I forgot Abram. He kills Abram. Yeah, because Abram up to that point was still alive, right? In the comics, if you don't know, spoiler alert, he's the one that got an arrow through his eye in the comics, right? But there was another character in the TV show, and so he was just kind of on borrowed time. They know that, and they did him pretty bad, right? They killed off Abram pretty bad, right? But then the way they did off Glenn, wow! Like you'd think, like it wasn't like you think, like after all of the zombie eating and killing they've shown, that it couldn't be as worse as that, right? No, this man's head caved in, and they showed every bit and piece of it. Every bit and piece of it.
Now, mind you, too, for those of you who don't know about how they handled such an episode. Now, if you read the comics, the book had been out for a couple of years before they addressed the death of Glenn and the debut of Negan on the TV show. So people knew it was coming, and they actually killed Glenn earlier in the series by when he didn't like get drowned by walkers.
Yeah, that was in season 6 as well.
So and of course they comes back only to, and I remember fans were like, "You can't do this to me!" Like I'm like, if you read the comic book, you know it's coming. But because of them going down that road with Glenn originally, they were actually hemming and hawing about not sticking with the original storyline and killing Glenn in the series. So they filmed, I believe there's 5 or 6 people that are on their knees before Negan.
Yeah.
Okay. They filmed a scene for every character getting the Glenn treatment. So there were, I think someone said there was a scene where everybody got it, or they filmed one like, okay, you got it, cut. Okay, you get it, cut. And they filmed a version for each one, and then they filmed one where nobody got it, and that everyone was going to live. And even the guy who played Glenn was like, I know I'm dead. I know I'm dead. I'm like, I'm dead in the comic book. But they were like, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do with the TV show. All these characters are amazing, and the Walking Dead TV fans are different than the Walking Dead comic book fans. And so they filmed them to be a little like, ooh, don't look over here. And then, of course, they edited it during the summer or between the hiatus between episodes. And, of course, it ended up going with the storyline. They aired the Glenn version. It was brutal. Fans were emotional because you killed Glenn twice. It
was pretty bad. I can go on and on and on about this show. Like I used to watch religiously, and now I kind of stopped like mid-season 8, 9-ish, and then I know they got back on their groovy in season 10 and onward. It's just that like coming from background of like of story writing and storyboarding and all that stuff. It's just that I see so many different like changes, of course.
Yeah.
Like just from season 1 onward, like it was just so different, and then all the beats that they hit right from about I think season 4 onward, very much similar to like the comics, very similar, right? And like, all right, cool. That's what's gonna play out now. They're trying to be as close to the comics as possible after this season, and that's cool. And then it kind of just fell off for that for me. And then I know we can have another podcast somewhere down the line, like just recapping back on all of those Walking Dead episodes. Like, that was that episode, man, was tough.
Now, how do you say
tough?
The show hasn't ended yet.
No, it hasn't. They're trying to do. I know they got back Lincoln. I forgot his first name.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, but they got back Rick for a little bit, right? He's gonna do 2 movies as Rick.
I heard that they're gonna do the movie route. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that like it's hard to keep everyone together there again. Like that thing's been going for 10 years.
Yeah.
And 10 years, man. And you got Danny. I forget her last name.
And I mean, you've read the final issue of Walking Dead. I mean, people are like, okay,
how are they gonna end it?
How are they gonna end it? Are they gonna do it that direction?
It's gonna be tough. Like,
it's gonna be
But like not only that, but like the person who plays Michonne, right? Danny, I forgot her last name. I can say her last name, but I don't want to butcher it, right? Ever since Black Panther, great pivotal role. I would understand you want to stay there. Yeah. I would understand that she want to stay in that lane. Like, hey, I just want to just ride that. Cool, that's for you. The girl that played I forgot her name. Glenn's wife.
Oh. See, right? I'm not as religious as a fan as the next person. I know a few of the bullet points on The Walking Dead.
Maggie.
Okay.
Yeah, like she was originally left the show, right, to do other things, right? She wanted to do another show, and that show tanked horribly. And then therefore she tried to come back to that show because The Walking Dead. And it's funny, in the season that everybody left, it got good again.
It happens.
And so, but yeah, just onward to different and better.
Yeah, well, we could get, like I said, once, especially when the con season comes around, people are starting to get back into, kind of getting back into the swing of things. We'll definitely talk about The Walking Dead. And before I forget, what's that?
You and your Pokemon. You hear the buzzing.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it away from the microphone. Damn, that microphone works well. I'm trying to find, there was a kind of a segue into our DC talk here. And I promise it's not going to be another butcher fest on DC. I know we kind of lambasted them last week. DC actually announced earlier this week, maybe it was before, but they are going to do a kind of a virtual kind of fan fest, like their own version of Comic-Con. It's going to come out in August. I think it is called, was it DC Fanatics? I'm trying to find
I've been really disappointed with DC the last couple of weeks that I don't really check up their. I'm not as religious as it should be.
Yeah.
Granted that we have a comics based podcast. They've been really disappointing me the last couple of weeks, man.
Yeah, DC Fandom. Save the date. Prep your cosplay on Saturday, August 12th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Warner Brothers will welcome fans everywhere into the DC Fandom, a virtual fan experience where there are no badges required. This is going to be, they already have committals from some big names. They have some big announcements that they're going to make. Let's see where he goes. Imagine all the superheroes and supervillains you've ever loved finally come together in one place to celebrate DC's past, present, and future. Accessible for 24 hours at dcfandom.com. The global event will immerse fans into the DC multiverse with new announcements from Warner Brothers games, film, and TV, and comics, as well as the unprecedented opportunity to hear from the cast and creators behind the favorite films and TV series, including Aquaman, The Batman, Batwoman, Black Adam, Black Lightning, DC Superhero Girls, DC Legends of Tomorrow, DC Stargirl, Doom Patrol, The Flash, Harley Quinn, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, Lucifer, Pennyworth, Shazam, the Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Teen Titans Go, Titans, Watchmen, Young Justice, Outsiders, and coming this fall to theaters worldwide, Wonder Woman 1984. And again, this is all going down 84. August 22nd, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, depending where you emanate from while you watch our podcast. But some big things in there before we segue into Dark Knight's Death Metal. This is going to be the first opportunity to see first off, like we said, the Justice League crew come back for the Snyder Cut. We're supposedly going to get some information about the Aquaman sequel. The Batman feature Robert Pattinson, who is going to be playing Batwoman in the CW show.
Yeah.
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, making his first official appearance as Black Adam. Stargirl, which has been kind of a surprising hit for DC. Doom Patrol, which is now officially exclusive on HBO Max.
Yep. Cannot wait for that.
The James Gunn Suicide Squad, not sequel, not reboot. We don't know what it is. Maybe he'll explain it to us. And of course, the debut of Superman and Lois, the new TV show for the CW. And of course, everyone's favorite cartoon characters, the Teen Titans Go, which have been really fun. But yeah, we should be getting some more information too, as well as about Wonder Woman 84. We'll talk more about that. But JR, this is a series diving headfirst into DC land. This is a book that you've been teasing for the last couple of weeks. It's your favorite character. He is the Dark Knight. We're talking a little. We're talking a little Dark Knight's Death Metal.
Yep. So, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the first issue. Again, I will say spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the first issue. I don't know how long I'm gonna talk about this, honestly. Hopefully Kevin can possibly put in, like, you know, when we stop talking about this in the little thing there. But yeah, so Dark Knight's Metal is, of course, done by the awesome team of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Yeah, they're back again after doing you know, the current Dark Knight's Metal.
Pretty much anything that's good at DC.
Anything, right? They try to tie everything together. And it's gonna go into my rant. Even though Kevin said before that we're not gonna try to hammer at DC much, I'm gonna hammer them again because I love them so freaking much. But then Dark Knight's Metal, dude, it's actually a Wonder Woman series. It's woman's, like, because it's shown from her point of view, right? Again, spoiler alert for those who haven't read up on anything about Dark Knight's Death Metal. She is now the queen or king of hell, which is the mascara.
Interesting.
And so what has happened is that, you know, Batman Who Laughs prevailed. Batman Who Laughs has prevailed, and he's brought back the Dark Multiverse, and it has just destroyed mainline. I repeat, mainline DC universe. So it's not some one-off universe. It's the main one, right? I'm talking about, you know, real Aquaman. I'm talking about actual Superman. I'm talking about actual Batman, right? It's their cities, right?
Yeah.
And he has just ruined it, and it is awesome to see. Is just think of it like the best comparison of Scott Snyder's writing and Greg Capullo's like line work in this. It feels like some grandiose AC/DC type, like, death metal concert.
Yeah.
Some, like, full on concert, but, like, you know, you see everything shredded. Like, we got some crazy stuff going on. We got Batman, guess what, alert, with the freaking with the Black Lantern ring, calling up the dead of like deadbeats of these pirates that came out from that died in that spear like years ago. Like, centuries ago. You got the Man Thing who, because there's no more Force around ever, he's like a weakened form of himself. You got like different forms of Batmans from every type of like dark universe. Like, remember that dinosaur in like that's always shown in like Batman's cave?
Yeah.
There's a dinosaur Batman.
Interesting.
There's a dinosaur Batman because in that multiverse, right? Like like Bruce died in that multiverse, and so he transferred all his like his mind into everything. It's like even inanimate objects, and so that freaking so that dinosaur became Batman, Bruce Wayne, and so there's this one panel, right? It's a kind of funny like little one-off thing where you have Wonder Woman, we have Diana talking to Batman T-Rex. We're talking about like, well, can you throw a batarang? No. Can you drive the Batmobile? No. What can you do then? Right? They have like this. It's funny. It's funny to me. Overall, the overarching story is really good, and I'll get it into my rant later on about how Greg is really trying to do right by DC by pulling all of these stories together, all of DC, and try to have one continuity.
And I know that I don't know if this is going to tie into their 5G, if they're even going to keep doing 5G or not. I know that's been kind of like a hot button issue, but yeah, it looks. We won't get too much more into spoiler town because we want people to go check it out. Hit up your local comic store. We have 3 here in the Coachella Valley. Check it out. We've got Interstellar Comics in Palm Springs. We've got Desert Oasis Comics, where right now the godfather of comic books here in the Valley is on vacation in his undisclosed bat cave in like North Dakota or something like that.
Yep.
And of course, she apparently kind of liked her nickname, the goddess of comic books.
Of course she does.
Even though she said it kind of went over her head, but a lot of things do. Chick over at Comic Asylum, and check it out. The latest issue. I know this past week was a primarily DC heavy week. Yep. It's expected to be a heavy Marvel week this coming week, as DC Comics' run with Diamond Distributors is slowly but surely coming to a close. So yeah, a lot of stuff that's going on. I don't know if we want to get too spoilery with Dark Knight, with Death Metal.
Some crazy stuff happens in it, guys. It's about almost a 40-page issue, right? You know, give or take a couple like ads in it. But dude, you know what you're coming into when you're reading Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Yeah. You know what you're getting into, and it is everything that I've waited for, especially after Doomsday Clock. Like, I needed some type of continuity left in my life.
Yeah. Dude, I've got to sit down and read Doomsday Clock.
We'll get into my rant after this.
Yeah. We'll kind of skim through a lot of the next thing. Though DC took, which is kind of odd because usually you leave it to Marvel to be the social justice warriors, but DC literally took a knee. Really cool artwork on all of DC Comics' social media platforms. Check it out on yesterday on Juneteenth. And those of you who don't know what Juneteenth is you have to imagine, take yourself back to 1886. So you're talking about that's over 100 years ago, obviously. And we don't have Facebook. We don't have Twitter, obviously. We don't have FaceTime and cell phones. And shoot, they didn't even have forms of broadcast news. Radio wasn't to be invented for probably another 50 years.
Yeah.
So getting information across a growing country was very difficult. So when the Civil War came to a close and President Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, and I think it was the 13th Amendment was passed.
Yep.
Basically ending slavery. It took literally another 2 years for information to get across the United States to let all slaves know that they were free. They were no longer indentured to their owner. And Juneteenth, it was June 19th, 1887, or I can't remember the exact year, but it was on June 19th that the final group of slaves were finally released from captivity. I hate to say it. And that was in Texas, I believe it was.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in Texas. And that is what people were celebrating yesterday. And in light of everything, or in conjunction with everything that's been going on, DC took all of their characters, most specifically those of different ethnicities, and they took a knee. A lot with the Black Panther Power Fist up in the air, and Jim Lee, I believe, did one of the pieces of artwork on their social media platform, and really cool artwork, and really kind of brought attention to everything that's going on in the nerd culture. So go check it out. Yep. And I think a lot of positivity came out of just that simple portrait.
Yeah. And just again, guys, just for clarification, again, June 19th, 1865.
1865. Okay, my years were a little off. I apologize. And I consider myself a history buff, but
same here, man. It's crazy how much we're just repeating history, man. Just forgetting that we are.
And and I also saw this, one of my favorite moments going back to visit the East Coast was getting to go to Gettysburg and seeing the battlefields there, and just like having to ask yourself, why were we fighting ourselves over something as so and go with me on this, is so minuscule as ending slavery. It makes no sense. It's like, just let people be people. It's like, let them live, like let them live their free lives. I was always raised to be, people were people. I didn't judge people by the color of their skin. And maybe I got a little up in arms, to bring it into comic book perspective. I'd get a little up in arms about there being like, I'll throw myself under the bus. Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm, wasn't a fan, but it's because I was traditionalist. It has nothing to do with black or white. It was just like, I didn't think he fit the part, not because he was black, because I think he's a tremendous actor, killed it in Creed, and absolutely nailed Killmonger. I just didn't think he fit the part of being the kind of the lovable jackass that was Johnny Storm. I just didn't work for me. It had nothing to do with the color of his skin. Because I think there is an incarnation of the Fantastic Four where Johnny Storm is black.
Yeah.
So I didn't give a crap. And shoot, back then Stan Lee was still alive. He didn't give a crap. He's like, as long as the actor brings a good performance to the character, and unfortunately, no one brought good performances to any of those characters. Yeah. But hey, we got Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther. He nailed it. Arguably one of the best villains that the DC universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has seen. So,
just give my view on it. Is that cool?
Go. I'm sorry, Ben.
Yeah. Just give my view on it, like with the backdrop of what's going on in today's age. I think that's the reason why we have this conversation. Where, like, granted, like, it's not to call you out on anything at all. I think it's because you don't give a crap that people have to give a crap. And so I think that's the conversation that needs to be said, or average comic book goers, average people like you and me who go out and see a movie and want continuity and want, you have to be exactly this way. And don't get me wrong, I play the same role, right? I can rant all freaking day about who they casted as Batgirl, or who they casted as Cassandra Cain in the recent DC Praise, DC Birds of Prey, right?
Yeah.
And I could have a big rant about that. But when it comes to specifically the Black experience in America, I think we have to give a crap, because there's not enough of them. Period. And granted, I'm not trying to shove words down your mouth at all.
Yeah.
At all. It's just that, like, I think in today's day and age, and what we're seeing now, specifically with the movement, with the Black Lives Matter movement, and just everything going forward, is that these stories do deserve to be told, and it's good to have a different perspective on who can be cast. Because, like, granted, I think honestly, for me, that if it wasn't for Michael B. Jordan playing Johnny Storm, we would never got Killmonger.
Oh, I agree. And because had it and Creed, give him a lot of credit in Creed, had it not been for those two roles, because yeah, let's face it, I mean, it had nothing to do with the actor and his abilities, but I almost would have to say, if it wasn't for the movie sucking so bad, that he probably wouldn't have gotten the attention. Like, it was almost like it needed to happen. It needed,
Yeah.
And real quick, I let me find that, bring it up real quick. I found that picture. I'm going to post it here real quick. If you haven't seen it already, this is the picture that I mentioned. And it is showing not only main series African-American characters in DC continuity, it is also showing different iterations, different multiverse versions of it. A lot of people were upset that they didn't have the black Superman. No, we're not talking about Idris Elba, which, by the way, Hobbs and Shaw, highly underrated movie. It's so terrible, it's awesome. And let's be fair. If there was a black Superman, it would be Idris Elba. Yeah. The dude can do no wrong. But yeah, that's the picture that I believe. I take that back. It was not Jim Lee. I take that back. This is the signature right there, JR.
I can't recall.
I can't remember who it is. So yeah. I apologize. I thought someone had tagged Jim Lee as the artist, but I could have. I apologize. I was wrong.
It's a possibility that Jim probably also did one himself too. That he probably put on his own social media. I can't really find it at the moment either.
Yeah,
I did remember hearing him doing one. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When I was looking this article up, I do remember seeing, and not seeing, but I do remember hearing about Jim doing one. So it's a possibility. It's out there.
So moving right along, we'll kind of go through things because we wanted to keep this kind of on time, and we're approaching our threshold of people's attention span. I'm just kidding, Hatner. Did get to see the first teaser of the Snyder Cut. It was showing Diana, aka Wonder Woman, stumbling upon what looks to be a cave painting or some kind of portrait of what inevitably will be Darkseid. And you hear a very creepy Lex Luthor, who's of course voiced by, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name, the guy who did Social Network. I can't think of his name. Anyways, I honestly, I think he maybe got too much screen time in Batman versus Superman, but at the end of the day, I really actually think he does play a very good Lex Luthor. Eisenberg, is it? No, oh my gosh, JR, you got to do the research on that one.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. HBO Max is where it will land in spring of 2021. I'm really surprised that they didn't get it out for launch. I thought that would absolutely destroy record books when it comes to HBO Max. And really, really surprised. But there's plenty of content, by the way, on HBO Max. Really enjoying time spent on that platform. But not a lot of meat on the bone so far when it comes to that
DC goodness.
That Snyder Cut. I think we're going to see a lot of teasers over the next year. So let's see. Upcoming Marvel books for September. We have Amazing Spider-Man 850 coming up. Cover done by Ryan Otley and maybe a Mark Bagley variant. Yep. We have The Rise of Ultraman and Black Widow. And as typical, movies coming out. Let's do a reboot with the book.
Yeah, it happens. Like just to let you guys know, these this is actually after Diamond has posted out what's coming out for September. So the new cutoff date. So if you guys are looking in for collectors specifically, if you guys are trying to see what books are gonna be hot, man, that list just came out a couple days ago or so. And so some of these are the books that I'm looking at.
No, these are gonna be hot ones. Looking at the list, kind of peruse through it. ASM 850, obviously, kind of a milestone book, kind of sort of.
I think you would dig the cover, dude. Like the main cover for it.
I'll have
I
to
think
take a
you would
look at
dig
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Mary Jane in the front. And it looks like it gives me like an old school 1950s vibe type of thing.
Nice.
So
Obviously, we have a Black Widow and Captain Marvel books coming out. We have a J. Scott Campbell variant that we will see on that. Black Widow #1, the Immortal She-Hulk #1. I gotta imagine with the Immortal She-Hulk #1, more information is going to be coming forward with the She-Hulk TV series.
I think honestly, it's most likely. I put that on there because one,
it's a one shot.
It's a one shot, but like I'm thinking like you know me, like Marvel. Why are you doing this again? Why are you constantly putting out stuff like there's small little stuff and bigger hits, right? But then they got the guy who wrote it, right?
Yeah,
it's the guy who wrote Immortal Hulk, right? He's doing Immortal She-Hulk. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Al
might
Ewing.
be that. Yeah, Al Ewing. And so yeah, Shang-Chi #1 coming out. That movie's gonna come out eventually. So they're trying to build that up. Possibly the next. I think they're gonna start filming soon. It was supposed to come out next year?
I think it was supposed to be next year. Everything got about back. So Shang-Chi probably just get an opportunity to introduce people to the character. A long-standing. I want to say I don't want to say a major character, but I don't want to say a minor character. Shang-Chi is a significant character, kind of in the middle of the road for Marvel, and I think I think Shang-Chi is going to be one of those characters that is going to be not just because of the race thing, but I think from almost like a cool factor based on what they said at Comic-Con last year, that it's going to be a kind of a groundbreaking character in a movie. So it's going to be kind of a cool factor like Black Panther was.
He's supposed to be Shang-Chi is supposed to be the strongest or the best spider in the Marvel universe. And so that's been historically known. And so, yeah, we'll see how he does, man. Like, I'm hoping they do it all right. Like, I ranted about this movie before. I understand the reasoning Marvel has for this. Like, I can go on, but that's a rant for another day.
I will say that this is another promise fulfilled through the Marvel one shots that they used to do, which was now of course one shots being in comic book terms are these one-off books that they would do, and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe they did one shots which were little movie shorts, and I think it was All Hail the King, which was a one shot that got released not after Iron Man 3, but it was I think it was on Thor the Dark World. I think it was released on that particular DVD, and basically says that the Mandarin that was in Iron Man 3, which we all thought was going to be Ben Kingsley, but ended up being
like a fake, like an actor.
It was like a kind of a fake. That the real Mandarin was what was his name? Killian. No, the guy that had AIM.
Yeah.
That he ended up being the Mandarin. Well, in All Hail the King, the short, it said that Killian was a fake who took on the mantle thinking he was the Mandarin, but the real Mandarin is out there.
Yeah.
And it was left at that. And people are like, okay, we're going to finally get the Mandarin. And we're going to get the Mandarin. I don't even think they've announced who the actor is playing the Mandarin. But
I have some ideas, man, which would be really cool. But then the idea I have, the guy is pretty old now. So,
well, I think we're gonna have to do an MCU standalone episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shang-Chi is gonna be a really cool character. I'm actually looking forward to Shang-Chi, The Legend of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. That's I think coming out late 2021 or maybe 2022. Jonathan Hickman has a new X-Men crossover or no new X-Men series coming out in the fall, and we'll obviously cross that path as we get there. But I don't really have a lot to rant about this week, but I know you've kind of built up a few. You got any rants?
I can go pretty. I'll try to keep this within a reasonable time. And is it cool?
Go ahead. The floor is yours. I'm cutting myself out of the rant on this one.
Cool. How about give me a rant and I'll give you pull list. Cool.
You get the rant. I got the pull list.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Cool. All right, so I'll try to keep this short. I'll try hopefully keep this in the manageable time. My rants, of course, that I kind of said earlier is one, DC continuity. DC continuity.
Continuity in
And
general.
no,
But yeah,
bro. I mean,
I
like,
know.
there's Marvel continuity and there's DC continuity. Marvel continuity, you know, they're gonna just mess up anyway because they're gonna try to do their own thing. DC, they intentionally do it.
Exactly. It's sad.
And like, okay, so here's the thing. Doomsday Clock was supposed to be the series from the awesome Jeff Johns to tie everything together.
Yeah.
Ties everything together. And okay, spoiler alert again for those who haven't read that haven't read Death Metal, right? Skip to maybe hopefully a minute, like 15, no, about 30 seconds ahead, right? From now. So in Dark Knight's Metal, we have an imbued Wally West with Dr. Manhattan powers. That character was supposed to come out in the end of Doomsday Clock, where it was a Superman imbued with Dark Manhattan powers.
Yeah.
Right. So cut it up. So hopefully, okay, at this point, we should be fine now with spoilers.
Spoiler warning over.
I'm hoping. And so we have these characters now that are brought to light where they conflict with the continuity, right?
Yeah.
The reason being is because the things that that other writers have done, specifically your boy who's doing Action Comics right now,
Brian Michael Bendis. I think his run's coming up to an end here pretty soon.
Hey, I don't think he's ever gonna run. I think they paid him way too much for him to stop doing a run.
No, I think he's at least done with the Superman title. So Action, he might still be on.
No, so that's me. Like like there's specifically in the Death Metal, right? They talk about AC and DC, AC/DC, right? Death Metal, right? But then they call it, they call it something else. Where like you have two conflicting sides, right? And AC in this context, right, is Action Comics, and DC is Detective Comics, and how they just totally fly in the face. Again, well, not really apologies for that. It's just my own little take of Scott Snyder's writing.
Yeah.
Is that my own theory? I'm theorizing about it, like their own takes of like how those two series specifically are just doing their own thing, and they're leaving everything else in the continuity that's trying to progress this line from Wonder Woman, from Flash, from even Red Hood, from Nightwing, from current Batman Tom King run, right? How they're trying to follow a certain continuity timeline for everything to progress nicely. What do we have after freaking Doomsday Clock? Ben is doing something else with his son going out to outer space and him coming back as a 15-year-old now. He was a 10-year-old, now he's 15. While in the same year you have, the return of the Superboys, and they're both the same age. And like it just flies in the end of continuity, and then you have what goes on with Doomsday Clock and the end of Doomsday Clock, and how Jeff Johns try to really tightly put all the stuff in a nice, neat bow to appease everybody, to appease the fans, because the guys at the top are trying to, just really trying to stroke freaking Bendis' ego, trying to stroke DC Comics, whoever's writing DC Comics right now, whoever's writing Detective Comics, and try to have all that stuff really just kind of screw with continuity, because one, you're supposed to do 5G, two, Dark Knight Metal is supposed to, Death Metal is supposed to be something else entirely. It was supposed to tie in all of Batman, Dark Knight. I was supposed to tie in everything else that happened from the prior Metal series into something else, but no, Jeff Johns trying to fix everything else that's gone on the last year, because no one wants to tell, or no, not no one. I can't say that because people have been trying to tell the editors of DC, hey, you're screwing with the time, you're screwing with the continuity, because you're bringing Perpetua, because you're bringing in this whole whatever the hell happened when you're the villain, because you're giving Bendis everything. And like to me, it's really ruining the mojo of what they built up, prior Bendis.
Yeah.
That's like Jeff Johns put everything on a platter for you to hopefully, to digest, and he took so much longer than he needed to fix the continuity, but then you try to basically screw him over. Tom King was supposed to go on for a lot more run on his Batman run, but they cut him off because they want something else new. But then they brought him on back because he wanted Eisner. Like, you're really trying to just basically shift the whole thing in a different direction and just really just, to me, destroying the good mojo that they've built up since Rebirth. And I can go on more, but then let's try to keep it under minimum. So that's my rant.
I dig it. And by the way, speaking of Eisner Awards, which is kind of like a cross between like an Academy Award and a kind of a Hall of Fame induction, is an award that's handed out to a specific group of comic book creators and people connected to the industry. It's usually given out at San Diego Comic-Con in a Hall H presentation. Obviously this year, with everything going on, I think they're going to do it virtually this year, but really super nice guy. We talked about him on last week's show. As David Mack has been nominated for an Eisner Award, and I really, truly believe he is deserved of such a recognition. So I just wanted, when you said Tom King, I'm like, oh shoot, I wanted to make sure we brought that up. And I'll try to get the link up on my Facebook page, or maybe I'll put the link in our show notes on YouTube as an opportunity to vote for David Mack as a Eisner Award winner. And if there's a man who deserves it, there's a man who deserves to have representation in Hall H, it would be him. And again, well deserved. But hashtag and rant for Mr. Dark King over there. Yep. Let me bust down the virtual background here.
Show me what you got, man.
And let's go a little hashtag mail call first. And yes, here's the undisclosed Shield location with my little microphone here. I know I've got a crowded workspace. I guess I can get rid of my show notes now. I can make room for all my stuff over here on my studio desk, which is basically thanks to DeWalt for this awesome desk that they made.
Better than my desk, man.
Oh man, where did it go? Shoot. Where did my mail call? Oh, there it is. Okay, mail call. Let's go first off. This was a book that was missing from my collection. One of the first where'd it go? DC Black Label books was Batman Damned. Batman Damned #1 became an instant. I think my microphone's a little bit wonky on that one. Became an instant controversial issue because of the Batawang. And check it out. It's worth it.
Little Bruce.
Little Bruce. Talk about the other Damien. Jeez. But finally completing my run of Batman Damned, because Batman Damned, they had a cover A and a cover B. I finally got my hands on the final variant. It is the hard sought after Jim Lee variants. Check this out. This is Batman Damned #1, the Jim Lee variant. I wish I had this just a couple of years ago to get it signed by the man, the myth, the legend, Jim Lee. But I'm sure a day will come that I will get a chance for him to sign that again. By the way, at rob.is.rob.
Good. Oh yeah, Rob's
Rob. Rob is good, or is it?
I think so. Yeah, I have them.
Rob is Rob, or Rob is good.
1 second. Let me before we butcher his name.
So Rob on Instagram, hooking it up, gave me a great deal on this little mail call. Speaking of which, and I might do this as a giveaway. This is my third copy. This is the #2 Batman Damned variant, featuring I believe a even more creepy Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah. #2. Rob is Rob. Yes, you're right. Rob is Rob.
Rob, thank you. Appreciate it. My third copy of this book. You can never go wrong with multi-copies. Now I for sure have a backup copy to get signed. But he gave that as a little thank you to yours truly. This was one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe, going back to the Marvel animated series days. This is Uncanny X-Men number 244. This is coming from, I believe, I don't have my glasses on. This is coming from 1989, so this is just on the outskirts of Bronze era. This is first appearance, though she is not on the cover. This is first appearance of Jubilee.
Yeah. You
So
know, I swear I saw that cover sometime. I swear I got that one too. But yeah.
But Rob, appreciate it, man. Hooking it up.
That's right.
And then it's not every day that you get a CGC. And this is from April of 1978. It is a FN negative, which is a 5.5 CGC. Mm-hmm. This was again, this is Uncanny X-Men number 110, key issue. Phoenix joins the X-Men. Kind of a cool cover. Again, slabbed already. Got classic blue and yellow Cyclops.
Old school label too.
Old school label. Got Colossus. That's right. All new, all different X-Men. But this is from the, quote, Uncanny run. You do have Storm in there. And I think that's about it. But really cool book. Again, thanks, Rob, hooking it up. I want to give him, again, a shout-out. Rob is good. Rob is Rob on Instagram. You can find him. Coming to you from the Bay Area. I believe he's a Raiders fan, too.
One of the good sellers.
Oh, yeah. Good dude. His books are usually clean. That's a clean-looking 5.5, too. And then the Jubilee, which I'm debating on whether or not to get that one slabbed. Not sure yet, but we'll see. Books that came out this week was a light week for my pull list, so I chose to go with some back issues as well. But the latest book that came out, one of the most ambitious crossover events in comic books in recent history, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Boom Studios teaming up with IDW's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is the crossover between the Turtles and the Power Rangers, issue number 5 of 5. This is cover A. Check it out. Really, really neat book. And I believe you can kind of see this in the background right here, JR. This is first appearance of the Turtlezord. So a little crossover of the Megazord and the Ninja Turtles. Also picked up some variants. Picked up some variants from issue number 2 and I believe issue number 3. These are wraparound covers. Don't have the artist name, but they were pretty cool. Don't have the backside on this one.
Okay.
But I do have this one. This one is issue number 2. And again, I apologize. I don't have the artist name in front of me, but I thought it was a unique take. Again, a wraparound cover. I'm sorry. There's not a wraparound cover. I'll take it back. But yeah, check it out. Cool book. Issue number 2. I believe I'm just missing. I don't have all the cover A's. I think I just have cover A for number 1 and number 5. Working on the other 3, but I wanted to get the story in because I've heard nothing but good things about the storyline. A lot of fun with everything that's going on. Just a different story. I will say this before I wrap things up for episode number 4 is they've done some really cool turtle crossover books over the last few years, including Ninja Turtles and Batman at one point. But the one that I'm waiting for them to do is I spoke with one of the original writers on Ninja Turtles, not Eastman, not the original co-founders of Turtles, but this was like a writer of the Ninja Turtles back in like the early 2000s. He was telling me that with the permission of Kevin Eastman and I can't think of the other guy who co-created the Ninja Turtles, they are going to finally they wanted to do a storyline, pitch it to Marvel. It was a crossover with the Ninja Turtles and Daredevil, and finally bring it to canon that the Turtles are inspired by Daredevil. And Kevin Eastman has brought this up multiple times, and it's funny that it never dawned on me is who is the guy who taught Matt Murdock, all of his ninjutsu, a lot of his martial arts? Stick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh. Who taught the Ninja Turtles their ninja skills?
Splinter. Yeah.
Who does Daredevil fight as their main villain?
Oh.
The Hand. Who do the Turtles fight? The Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kevin Eastman has said, he's come out and said that he is, that the Ninja Turtles are inspired by Matt Murdock and Daredevil, to the point that they want to canonize the ooze, or the mutagen that gave the Ninja Turtles their mutation, was the same chemical that gave Matt Murdock his enhanced senses.
Oh, wow.
So that when the accident happened, that the chemicals went down into the sewer and mutated the Ninja Turtles. So the same thing that mutated Matt Murdock had this unusual effect on the Ninja Turtles and gave them their powers. That was a story that they've been working on. I guess they've been pitching for years.
It's crazy.
Marvel won't do it. And I'm like, tell me you wouldn't read that book, Turtles Daredevil?
I understand why they won't do it, because
it's not theirs.
IDW and all that. But like the second, if they bought it up, dude, they would do that in an instant. They would do it in an instant.
Heck yeah, it's a great idea. So, by the way, from what little I've read and the synopsis, if you're a Turtles fan, definitely get Turtles and Power Rangers.
Always good read. I heard good things. I heard nothing but good things.
And Boom Studios and IDW really can do no wrong right now. They're killing it. By the way, Faithless, another great read from Boom Studios. We talked about that, I think, last week or the week before. So that is the end of my hashtag mail call, hashtag pull list. Again, thanks to Chick over at Comic Asylum.
Can I do one thing?
Go right ahead.
Actually, can you do share screen, please, for me?
All right, I gotta add you here. Multiple participants.
Yeah. So basically, this is for on the lookout for if you're a creator specifically, right? This one just came up for me, and I just noticed this as well. And so let me see, share screen. Let's do my second desktop.
Yep.
Okay. So you got me?
Gotcha.
Okay, shut them now. So can you see my second screen? I can't even actually see it. Right here, right? The main screen was Spiderman. You see it?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so basically, right? So I have this this is my own collection right here, Spider-Man, right? This is volume number 2 for the Miles Morales series, issue 12, and the C variant, right? This is the one for 25 variant, right? So this one I bought maybe a couple years ago. I think at Adrian's spot for maybe about like $15, right? $15, $20 or so, right? Now, literally just now, is going for like crazy numbers. And these are raws, dude. This guy, I don't know about if he's ever gonna get that much. He's not. But like some of these numbers are insane, dude. And this is for one for 25 variant, I think. Right? 300. And these are just still going right now. This one I think is on a bid for like 3 days left. It's gonna go higher. And so yeah, man, if you guys on the lookout, if you have this in your book, because I know that this is when they kissed. And so people are trying to get this back, right? People are trying to find this book again to try to see, that kissing variant. I know they have it in Chick and JaVale's place.
I think I've got it. Let me see if I can find it in mine.
It's the major variant. I think it's like one for 50 or something like that, right? Where they have like a couple $100 or so, and that's actually really well priced. And so this one just recently, man, just been hitting waves, man. And I'm like, what the heck?
Man, where did it go here?
There you go.
And like I said, anything having to do with Miles Morales right now is a hot button issue.
It sold for at least, it sold for under 200, like $300 right here. This one sold for under 250. This was a day later, I think. No, the same day. Wow. And then it just keeps on going. Like it's crazy too, because like literally a couple of days ago, $60.
Yeah. Right? So it's issue 12, correct?
Issue 12C.
Okay, and I have, for those who are what JR was talking about here.
Crazy.
Bust this out here right quick. This is the issue that the main issue that Jared was talking about, that is the cover.
Yep.
You have Spider-Gwen, who is in one universe, and then you have Miles Morales in another universe. And this was it was funny. It was I bought this thinking it was Gwenpool kissing Miles Morales because at the time in the Gwenpool series, she actually, well, spoiler alert if you haven't read Unbelievable Gwenpool is actually from our timeline, and she reads comic books, and she reads DC, she reads Marvel, she reads IDW, she reads Boom Studios, she reads comic books. And she knows that's her secret ability. Everyone's like, what's your secret power? She knows that it's all fake. She knows that it's just comic books. So she knows that Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is Miles Morales. She knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And so she has a little crush on Miles Morales, and Miles Morales is like, oh, she's like a crazy fan. Just get away from me. So I thought when I saw this cover, I had to grab it because I was grabbing all Gwenpool books. And then I realized, no, it's Spider-Gwen, because I saw the little checkered logo there. And or she's known now as Ghost Spider, by the way. But,
yeah. Her other
name. I think in the comic book, she was known as Spider Girl or Spider Woman.
Yeah, no, it's still yeah. So I forgot the name of it, but yeah, it's
But that was the cover A of what Jared was talking about. What Jared was showing was the C cover, which is the 1 in 25. And yeah, sometimes they kind of hit. And I think right now, with who knows what they're going to do with the second Into the Spider-Verse movie, but there is talk of also doing a spin-off and giving Spider-Gwen, aka Ghost Spider, her own movie, and so we'll see how that goes. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Again, hit us up, comments below, what you think, what you like, what you dislike about the show. Dude, give us that thumbs up. Subscribe, please.
Hit
subscribe.
That bell.
Hit the little ding dong bell there, and we'll notify you because there's other stuff that I'm going to throw up on the YouTube channel. Also, find me on social media at Voice of Reason 23, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Facebook is we're going to primarily post a lot of the videos and whatnot, and we also will share them on Facebook.com/KRP Broadcasting, which is my production company that produces all this. It's a department of Shield. So yeah. Thanks guys for all the support, all the feedback. I know we probably went a little bit long, but I think we got some cool content. I know that the Zoom call right now is heading in towards the 2-hour mark, but I think we jumped in about 20-30 minutes late on the recording.
30, 40, yeah. You guys find me at also Not JR Comics 42 on Instagram, guys. We are still working on our other socials. Thank you very much for being patient. Thank you very much for supporting us again, guys. Thank you so much for just listening to two nerds geek out about comics and stuff.
And hit us up too in the comments below. What are some of the topics that you guys want us to hit on? I think we're going to do this format show maybe a couple more weeks, and we will hit you up on some single subject, like we did about 2-3 weeks ago with the collectors episode. We might do some single subject episodes. Like I said, going to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and our thoughts on it probably as we get closer to Black Widow, and of course we'll talk about the DC Universe. Probably going to do that somewhere. Maybe we'll do that closer to Wonder Woman. Maybe we'll do it after the DC fandom convention, which takes place in August. And again, he's JR Kambakungan, the Dark King. I am the voice of reason, Kevin Pillow, saying so long. Thank you for enjoying our show. It is official. PS Comics, I love you. We'll see you guys next week.
Hey, guys.